Hey. It's Friday night. Yes. And we are in the studio. This is Samantha Wise Words, the podcast, and we have a dynamic panel here with you guys. We're going to talk about acting and thinking like a lady. And what does that mean? And we're going to talk about acting and thinking like a lady. And what does that mean? And we're going to talk about acting and thinking like a lady. And what does that mean? And we're going to talk about acting and thinking like a lady. And what does that mean? And we're going to talk about acting and thinking like a lady. And what does that mean? And we're going to talk about acting and thinking like a lady. And what does that mean? And we're going to talk about everybody, we are back live and we're going to start this thing all over again. I was trying to do multiple things at one time and I didn't test it out prior to. But we're back and we're going to talk about how to act and think like a lady. This is episode number 21. And as I said before, we have a dynamic panel in the building. And I'm going to start to my left. We have AJ. We have Minister Kendra. We have Jen, and we also have Jerome, and we're going to go around the table and let them introduce themselves to you personally and tell a little bit about yourself. What do you do? What's your profession? And then we're going to get our conversation started. And I'm going to ask that we be respectful because I know y'all be going crazy on Facebook. And the reason why I chose them because they have a strong view on how a woman's supposed to act. And I want to let them know there's reason why we could act a certain way in some instances. And we just asking y'all to be patient with us sometimes because y'all don't have enough patience. Y'all just want us to jump out the womb and be acting like a lady. It don't happen like that.
I'm learning the patience.
Okay, so we're gonna start with AJ and then we're gonna work our way this way. As far as introducing themselves. So, Mr. AJ, would you tell people who you are?
Hello, I'm AJ. Most people probably know me from hosting events. That is one of my side business or side hustles. I also build bikes, my 9 to 5. I am a recruiter for a nonprofit organization.
Okay. I didn't know you did all that. I thought you were just a super producer. You know, every time not every time I go nowhere. I think I met you over at Liege before. You could tell me I met you somewhere. Okay.
Probably before that.
Okay.
But that's probably what we got most of it.
I was spoiled. They spoil me. Anytime I go somewhere, they be like, "Come on, you in here." I think it's because they know my family. That's why I think. But it could be because I'm a nice lady too. So we'll see. We got my sister Kendra on my left. Go ahead, Sister Kendra.
I am an entrepreneur. My husband and I own several businesses in a small town called Oakdale, California, and we do screen printing. I do business development, business management, business marketing, and on top of all that, I am also a pastor.
Yeah, pastor, minister. I've called her a few times, but the unique thing is I met her on a bike set, and I think we went into the bike set trying to change it. Not that there was anything wrong with it, but we were trying to do ministry within the motorcycle set, and for me, it was receptive. I think because I had a level of respect. I think the same thing with you, and so she and I, because we were on the same page when it came to doing the work of God or doing the work of our people, we kind of clicked and kind of went there. And so now we're gonna move to dancing girl Jen.
Hi everybody, my name is Jennifer Frazier. I am a Bay Area performing artist, so I do musical theater, I teach dance classes, I do hair, I do makeup, and I work at a dermatology office during the day.
And what you do here though? Right?
Oh, okay. I am the hip hop teacher at Tip Top Shape on Tuesday nights. My class is at 7 p.m. We start on time, so come take class.
She do start on time. If you don't come on time, she's gonna make you do a recital in front of everybody. So if you come to her class, please be on time. What you say, Mr. Jerome?
I'm I'm Jerome. I have a couple businesses like the Jamaica Queen over here. I got a water business. I have an herbal business while teaching our people about health and the science and information that was kept from us. I just retired from my W-2 back in August, and I'm just having fun, enjoying the second half of my life.
When you said W-2, does that mean corporate?
Corporate, yeah.
Okay. And so you have a water, you have a special water, and that's what we're drinking. This is not a cocktail, guys. This is not gin. This is not tequila.
I spiked it. I spiked the bottle.
No, you didn't. No, I watched him open it. So what is the name of this? And tell me what it does.
It's Zany's magnesium water. And one thing that's good about it is high in magnesium. It's natural magnesium. It comes straight. I did not add it, none of that.
It's water. It's only water.
Thank you, brother.
And it's I put it in glass bottles, and when we get in the discussion, I'm gonna tell you why it's in glass bottles.
He's like an educator. Anytime we say something going on, we end up calling Jerome. Jerome does his research, and he's gonna send you a whole package in the mail. Don't call him when you're sick or when COVID happened. He's gonna be able to tell you a little bit more about his business and how we need to go the right route instead of doing all these medicines that the hospital give us. So act like a lady. Think and act like a lady. What does that mean? I looked it up. It says being a female is a matter of birth. Being a woman is a matter of age, but being a lady is a matter of choice, right? And I've always thought, to me, a lady was distinguished. She was classy. She was sophisticated. She wasn't loud. She wasn't disrespectful. But she was still strong. She was still assertive. She was still very well mannered, and she dressed really, cute and stuff. That's a lady. Everybody, you could be a female, you could be a woman or whatever by birth, but I think you are poised or you are taught to be a lady. And I think a lot of times no one teaches the younger generation on what it meant. And so that was the reason why I wanted to teach girls how to be wise or to prepare themselves to be wise. And this kind of came up, act and think like a lady, because I think if we don't think it, we won't do it. If no one shows us, we have no way of knowing what it looks like. And I know on Facebook, the guys are always, to me, beating the females up or beating the women up about, well, yeah, because I think if you guys are not doing it in a way of creating a positive light on it, or this is what I think you guys should do, you guys are always like hammering it. Well, y'all ghetto if y'all got the long eyelashes. Y'all this and y'all that. Versus saying it would be nice if you felt like a lady was being disrespectful, pump your brakes 1 second. Let me explain to you something. Versus you know, you a bitch, or you just get assertive. I mean, you just get abrupt with her. And I think, why would you talk to a lady like that? Why would you talk to a female like that? I mean, in my opinion, I don't know.
Can I help you real
Yes,
quick?
go
'Cause
ahead.
you said, why would you talk to a lady like that? But was she acting like a lady when you talked to her like
We're
that?
about to find out. Go ahead, AJ.
That, and I have to say, exactly what she says. Men don't tend to talk to ladies like that. I'm pretty sure when you walk in a room, you get a certain amount of respect based upon the way that you carry yourself. And the way that you carry yourself is very, very important. And men are in tune and far more receptive than women give them credit for. We grew up watching our mothers, our aunties, our grandmothers. We have sisters. So a lot of times the things that we say we want or that we speak about are things that we see, and they naturally get shunned. And to speak to your point, normally it starts off as a soft conversation, and it gets ignored. And then you come back again, and then it gets ignored. And then you hear this mantra amongst women, you know what I'm saying, do you, or, you know what I'm saying, we don't want to be controlled by men and be subjective to their thoughts or whatever. But then we turn around and we have this discussion, which I commend you for having this discussion, because until we sit at the table and you talk to men, you won't know.
Right.
It's too many conversations of women trading information on what they feel men want and not having the conversation with the men.
Okay. That's a valid point. Go ahead,
See,
Jay.
I gotta bring the science to this.
Oh.
Because one thing, when you just was saying that, like how to do it, one thing we gotta know that men and women, we are wired different. And how we receive information and give information different. So what men should say, women feel things. You said maybe you should do it because you gotta feel it. But we wasn't taught that. So when men, we think, just go do this. This is why the main argument, what you want to go eat. And a woman can never know because she has to feel the restaurant. But I didn't notice that one time. Now I do. But a man should say, more to the point to saying, you know what, babe? You know, we ain't had no chicken in a long time. We went to that spot. Remember how good it was? Now you just connected her to the spot. So now you say, we should go there. She's like, yeah, let's go there. But you say, let's go to what's called this week. She was like,
You didn't even
nah.
ask me, or you didn't even ask me.
Yeah, exactly. See, you gotta make her feel it. So now, when you, to your point, when you sit there say like men come down and say, why you wearing those? You shouldn't wear those. You shouldn't wear that, because we want to talk on how to communicate, just like women want to talk on how to communicate to a man. And this is a mistake that I made across the board, not understanding, you know, how to be heard, and understanding not hearing her. I made that mistake, and I'm sitting like, what you mean? I did this. You just don't get it because it wasn't verbally expressed to me properly, and I wasn't verbally expressing myself properly. So, you know, to be able to recognize a woman, you got to know how to be a man to even see a woman. So a lot of times we equate it just with age. Age don't make you a man or a woman. You know, it's your understanding and how you move and how you conduct yourself. And because of people, we are not emotionally stable yet. And once we become emotionally stable, we become very active. But when you look at our environment, we come from a survival mode. When you're in survival mode, all that emotion go out the door. But we got to learn how to come out of that, because you stay stagnant. Your relationship stays stagnant. Your career stays stagnant. Everything is right there until you learn how to. Okay, I ain't gotta be in this mode anymore. I ain't fighting no more.
You don't have to.
But we gotta know how to unprogram ourselves.
And so that's like, say for instance, I say for me, myself, every morning I walk out the door, it's like I'm putting on a cape.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to put on protective gear.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I hit the world, sometimes I feel like I have to protect myself. I have to protect myself from corporate. I have to protect myself from the people that's out to get us. I have to protect myself from biases. I have to protect myself from judgment. And then because we always into protecting ourselves, we become what you guys, not you guys, hard.
Mm-hmm.
But we're always in protect mode. And sometimes when we cross our threshold to get into the house, we still got that same armor on. We're still in protect mode. We still, heavily armored. Mm-hmm. Even when we walk in our door, because we've lived that life for 12 hours. Mm-hmm. We've been in protect mode. We've been protecting ourselves because y'all not with us all the time. Mm-hmm. And so we've learned to me, protect ourselves. Mm-hmm. And so when they be like, well, she too masculine, she too strong, she too this, we didn't have a choice. And giving you guys an example, there was a lady that was raped in New York or whatever on the BART system. There were men, there were people, it was full. Nobody stopped to save her. Nobody stopped to save her. So I say that, when you guys talk about the masculine things, so on and so forth, and people are too strong, look what just happened. We wasn't even protected. Yeah. And when the president, Trump, yelled at that black lady and called her all those names, no man went to her defense. Didn't nobody come to her defense. However, when people went against black men, we always stand behind, but we never feel protected. So that comes with a strong piece of it coming. I know I kind of shifted gears a little bit, but that was on my heart. I know that was a goal, one of the points that I wanted to make. AJ, I know you had something to say. I'm sorry. We're going to come to you a little too, because he took a deep breath.
I know he did. He feel that back in his seat I think for me, I totally understand and identify with the whole having to put on your cake when you walk out the door, because me as a single woman, it gets challenging because I see the difference in how I'm treated when it's a dude that's trying to talk to me, but I'm not interested in him, versus when it's a dude when they're not interested. I've experienced men be very gentleman-like to me when they trying to holler, but then when I show no interest, then all of a sudden it just shifts. And so for me, I feel like I walk around a lot of the times not feeling protected, or feeling like I'm trying to block, for unwanted people, just because I don't always understand men. I know for me, I get I talk to my dad, I talk to my uncles and stuff like that, but at this point, I know, and even dating for me, it's hard because I'm I don't even know how to communicate, because I don't know what you want. I know who I am and I know what I bring to the table, but how do I show you that, especially being a woman that is in the church and I have different godly principles too. So it's just a lot of the time I'm just silent and just not suffering in silence, but almost okay, I got me. Whenever God brings him, he brings him. But at the same time, it's just if he came, I wouldn't even know, because I'm so guarded from being, I don't want to say abused by, the behavior of how I'm 37, so I only have my 37 years of experience in dating, dealing with dudes that have just been hey, yo, what's up? And I'm no, and they be cool at first, then all of a sudden, I'm a B-word if I'm no, thank you, or whatever, or they say I'm too nice, I'm too quiet, or I seem unavailable.
Well, I think like you said, you don't know what they want, and if you ask that question, he should be able to verbalize what he wants.
And then the other thing is, for me, I come from a family that everybody has been married. I'm the only one of my siblings that is not married. And so I get I'm just praying that God sends your husband when you get a husband. And it's so what am I not doing to get a husband? I don't get that. So there's that part too. So it's that whole, will God send me a husband? How do I position myself? I'm not out here in the streets just running rampant. Right. I'm just waiting patiently.
But if your energy, you just said you guard.
Oh, these deep breaths over here. I'm
hey, AJ, y'all, AJ over here once.
Every time he take a deep breath, I shift in my chair okay.
You get uncomfortable.
I want to know
and that's that uncomfortableness that you feel when you.
No, I was going to ask you, does she want a husband? That's first and foremost.
She's
saying that people are asking her, and she's patiently waiting, but do you even want a husband?
Yeah, I do.
Okay. Do you know what you want in a husband?
Oh, she's so
I think I do.
What do you think?
You have to know what you want. That's number one. You have to specifically.
I would say I do know.
Because once you know what to look for. You know where to shop. You can't just say, bring me a husband and not do the work of actually, and then you have to be ready. Mm-hmm. That's another thing. You have to be ready to receive a husband, not just say, hey, I want,
And being ready starts with yourself.
Yeah, and then also being ready also starts with, it's not about you no more. Mm-hmm. Some things you have to do when you're tired. You don't feel like doing it. You got to do it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But it goes on both sides. But then if you guard it, that's the energy you put out too. You will feel that energy you guard it. So then you on your track guarding people. Like they hurt people, attract hurt people, happy people attract. So you're going to attract what you feel. So I want to ask you though, in your car relationships,
Oh God.
how did you handle? Because one thing about a Black woman, that you guys have more soft energy, that quick, and it's good. But a lot of times it's done wrong, and a lot of women like, because I tell you, they take that as being strong to get up in a man's face. And you can't tell me like that's not strong.
That's not
Yeah, and that's not me. That's not me. Like I'm outgoing in every other aspect except for relationships. Like I'm a little more shy, I'm a little more reserved. So I'm not in my past relationships. I didn't get in your face unless I needed to get in your face, basically, and not in a disrespectful way. Like I probably was submissive in times where I probably shouldn't have been. I should have been a little more like put my foot down. But no, I'm not like the type to get up. Like I'm strong and confident, but I'm not. I don't feel like I'm disrespectful to men.
Do you think there's any time that a woman should be assertive about her position? And I understand being assertive about your position doesn't necessarily mean getting in a man's face.
Right.
I learned that very early in my relationship with Ed. I tried to do it because that's what my family didn't play. We strong Black women, super strong. And he was like, no, that ain't gonna work for me. That you cussing and that's not what I want in a woman. I was like, what you mean? All this, we go together now. And he was like, nope. I don't want to come from the street into the street. Because that kind of conversation you can hear on the street. I don't want to face that aggression or that type of masculinity. You masculine, I'm masculine. That don't work. And that language was just too harsh. That language was not acceptable. And he said it straight up. It's just like when I had my reasonings for saying what was acceptable to me. And we said it in the beginning. Like this doesn't work for me. This don't make me feel good.
I have a question. There's two things. I'm gonna address that, but I want to get back to her.
Get back to Jen. Oh God!
My next question is, do you know what men want? Because that's a very important thing, and I think that gets just tossed to the side.
No, not all men. Like I see my brothers, I see my grandfather, my dad, and I look at their wives, and I watch married women a lot, and I wonder, okay, how did that work? But for me, I'm like, what do they want? Because I've seen so many different examples that I'm just kind of like, okay. And I think that's where the guard comes from sometimes too, is because I'm not sure about if I'm what they want. I know what I have, but I'm like, is this what you want? But then I'll see people who have similarities, the same things that I have in a sense, and I'll be like, okay, that's the same thing.
Similar as like personality or look?
Personality, look,
Okay. So number one thing is men want is peace. That's number one. Men want peace.
Peace.
Okay, and
I don't think we don't want peace.
What does peace look like? Like you said, we go out into the world and we face a lot of different things. We already feel like we have to play defense while everybody else is playing offense. There's a lot of things that we have to look for, that we have to have our eyes open for, and it's natural because we do have trauma. If I see Ed walking down the street, he see me walking down the street, and it was 20 years ago, we might look at each other a certain way, you know what I'm saying, just because we're on the defense. If I see Jerome walking down the street, you know what I'm saying, at a certain time, we might look at each other a certain way because he might be checking me out, I might be checking him out. It's the inner trauma that, we all experience.
Yeah.
And with that being said, as we get older, we get wiser, it lessens, so peace is, coming home, and not just having that moment of silence to enjoy. It could be silence, it could be reading a book, It could just be snuggling up. It could be having those conversations with your wife when you get home. It could be fishing. It could be a lot of different things. But it's a form of inner meditation that you have to have. So when a man comes home, that's why he says, "When I don't want to hear your mouth when I come home," because he just went out and did, and we understand he did work too.
You can't say I don't want to hear your mouth. You can't say that.
So now let me get to my other thing.
But you can't say that. Don't y'all say that you don't want to hear their mouth, because then you don't hear their mouth.
I'm gonna address the other thing that men want that's very important, and to your subject that you was just talking about. Tone is extremely important in how you deal with a man. The way that you speak to us is going to trigger our protection, or we're going to be repelled based upon your tone. Your tone's going to trigger our protection, our love, all these different things. It's going to get us to do the things that you want us to do, simply based upon your tone. And that same tone can actually repel us to do the actual opposite. So tone is very, very important when you dealing with a man. Just like you guys want to be spoken to a certain way, and you need to feel like you need to be spoken to a certain way to feel like a woman. A woman's going to have certain things that she's going to hold on to that makes her feel like a woman. So when you're speaking to her, you have to speak to her in a certain way. Men need that too. We have to have that too, because it brings out, like I said, it triggers that protection in us. The other thing that's very, very important is femininity. Like you said, you guys are addressing it as being a lady. It comes in many forms. In order to be a lady, I say that's a certain amount of etiquette that we're taught, in growing up. But I'll go back to my
You said peace, tone, and etiquette.
Tone, etiquette. What was I saying around etiquette? Oh, femininity. So femininity is real important, because, and you were speaking about this, and all of you were speaking about this on how you guys feel when you walk out the door and you feel like you have to put on this jacket. Usually men, grown men or, respectable men, we flock to that. When a woman is being a lady, it's like you don't have to do much, because that brings out our natural protection of you. When you are hardened, we feel like, well, you don't need no help. That's how it's a natural thing. We see a woman like, yeah, okay, we're gonna go help. But it's a difference when we feel like this woman is exerting herself like a lady. There's these natural things, like he's saying, a chemistry that comes out in us that we're wired to, that brings out that protection. When women act hard, it brings out a masculinity, and men aren't attracted to masculinity. Straight men, if you.
So I mean, when you started, you stated, you talked about peace, you talked about the tone, you talked about etiquette and femininity. So a woman likes her peace too. We want to come in the house and just rest and not have to be rushing, putting clothes and cooking dinner and being told like go sit down. It's good. If we don't eat out tonight, that's fine. We also want to be respected, and your tone and the way you talk to us is also huge for us as well. Don't cuss at me. Don't talk to me in another tone. Don't talk to me in that aggressive tone, because all you're gonna do is get shut down, or my old self would have been cussing you out. And I don't never want to go back to that old person that didn't know how to use. I try to get on. This the other day, I think he said shit or something. And so I start walking around the house saying shit. He was like, that don't sound right coming out of your mouth. Because it's been a while, it's been a long time. I don't like, it just doesn't go with my outfit. Cussing does not go with my outfit or my lip gloss. And then the etiquette piece, those are all things that are learned. Those are all learned traits that we have, and those are things that we have to teach our daughters. And so and I think that's where that hard shell comes from. First of all, it wasn't taught. And then the hard shell comes from past experiences. So if a woman was hurt by somebody, by a dude, then that's where that tough exterior come in at. He done broke my heart. And so now I put on this concrete shell. And it's going to take somebody good and patient to be able to break through that shell. And a lot of times y'all don't even want to deal with it.
Because she's supposed to break through that shell by doing shadow work. She had to go within, because this is where accountability come in at. A lot of women don't like to be accountable, because men say that too. Accountability, because no matter what, we all play a role everything, good and bad, happen in our life. We had a role in it because we the key link to it. So we don't like to go and point the finger. What you did, you didn't do this, you didn't do that. But we stop and say in this union, what did we do in this? What? Okay, that's how you want to roll. Then I should have got off this bus then instead of trying to convert you to how I want you to be.
Well, I wouldn't say, I'm sorry, I wouldn't say convert. I would say, let's go get counseling and see how we can be better for each other. Because for me, like I said, I used to cuss. I used to be very, very aggressive. And my husband was the man to say, let's fix this.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's not what I want. And because he was worth it,
Mm-hmm.
that word didn't fit, like I said, it didn't match my lip gloss. It didn't, though, that attitude didn't match my outfit. It didn't match my
I
height.
think you're talking about an 80-20 situation. You are already, and then y'all been together for a long
Yeah.
time.
So it's a
Okay. Go ahead, Mr.
Y'all both worked on each other.
Yeah.
We had to. But it was worth it.
But what
to me.
he's saying is when you're ready for a husband,
Okay,
you
so
have
getting
to
ready
be,
for her.
you have to be there. You have to
Yeah.
go through a certain healing. There was a time I didn't want no relationship. I'm like, nah, I'm cool. Like, I had to go
Why?
through
Because
a
it's work?
process.
Is it because it's work?
No, because I just felt like the market was trash. Just to be quite
So
honest
men
with
say the
you.
market be trash?
Yeah. Look at the market.
Look what's
though.
on TV. Look what you just said. We got to teach our young lady. Look who's teaching our young lady. They teach her what a bad this is and how to use it and throwing stuff in it. This is what they said. This is what they imitate. Look at Instagram. Go down Instagram feed.
And I want the pastor to speak because I know.
Yeah, because she
I got
ready.
a
You
couple-
see,
there's a
she
couple
ready.
things I already
She
know
was like,
that, yeah.
she probably hit us with some scripture.
Listen, I just want to say, first off, we got to be mindful that all women do not have a woman that raised them. And all women that raise women ain't women.
Mm-hmm.
They don't have what they needed to become a woman. And just because she wants a husband and that man decides he wants to be with her, that man also has to be willing to work with her because he knew what he had when he decided to ask her. He knew she was tough. He knew she was hood. He knew she was what my husband knew. Let me just say that. My husband. He was hood. My husband knew. I was angry. I was an angry Black woman with a lot of love to give. But I also had to make up my mind that I wanted to be different, that I didn't want to look like other women, that I didn't want to act like those other women. Because we see other women who are loud, disrespectful, that we have to make up our mind that that's not what we want. But also we need some people there with us to help us not be that woman.
But what if the person don't want, you being there, you waiting? Hey, got this book. You want to read this book? Hey, we'll go to this meeting. Well, the person, you're trying to be patient, but they not putting in the work.
So they never grow.
Yeah, they say they want to, but when the opportunity to put the work in, they don't do it. Just like you got to train. How many people say they want to lose weight, but never show up?
Yeah. Hi. Hey, girl.
Not only that, I think that when we get to the point where we say what we want, or what you're saying that you say we're a trip on social media, I think we're vocalizing what we want, and women don't want to hear it from a male vessel.
Mm-hmm.
So you get to this point where it sounds like we're beating down on women. These words that women use, I don't understand. It's like a whole playbook that y'all read out of. But when you're saying that we're beating down on,
What do you mean?
That
yeah,
whole,
you know exactly.
What do you mean?
Like I got a playbook in the back or something like that.
and when me and group, you ask that question, all the same. Where did he live?
Yeah.
The same thing. All
Same
men
thing,
say.
the same thing.
You go, it just be redundant.
It's when you, it's like when with me, I talk about clothing. I talk about the way you present yourself on social media, which is another thing important to men. Men care about their brand, just like you care about Samantha's wise words, just like you care about Tip Top Shape. Men care about their brand. So if you're looking for a husband, you have to present the brand the way that he wants the brand presented. Now, if you want to be single, that's fine. But if you want a husband, and I look down your page and I see a lot of stuff that just men can see, that's not a turn on to a lot of men. Some men like it. Yeah, we will like it because we're visual, but do we want to marry it? That's a whole other thing. And that's something that in this generation, women get caught up of, I don't have to listen to that. I could do whatever I want to do. And now, now you doing what you want to do, but you have observers. And we're looking at it, and like I say, a whole lot of men gonna hit like, but they're not gonna hit wife. And that's
that's
the
a good
difference.
one. That's a good one.
That's completely different.
Yeah,
That's a
I like
completely
that.
different thing.
So you said you will hit like,
But not your wife.
but not hit wife. Okay.
But see, like for me, that is to go back to what you were saying about, you know, you being ready and not coming with all your stuff too. Like you got to prepare it. And so for me, I feel like I dated for a while. I dated somebody long term, and then when that relationship came to an end, I was like, you know what? I recognized and I took accountability for where I messed up and how I was like, this relationship might have worked had you not had these issues that you didn't address. And so I decided to take the next few years really cleaning up my stuff. So like now when we talk about what do I want, it's like I know where I came from. So I'm not about to, like, the person that God has for me or the person that I want to be with, I hope that he's done his work too. Because when we come together, I don't want to deal with that stuff. So a lot of times that may be a part of me that's guarded, is because it's like if I see somebody who I feel like is about to waste my time, I don't want to waste the time, because I'm like, I got other stuff to do.
Right.
And so then the same way that we talk about our girls and what they see, the examples they see on social media, and how I personally try and set a different example, but I still have my moment where I feel like when men look at social media, they looking at the women who let it all out, let it all hang out, and that's what they like. And but somebody like me who trying to keep it modest, who trying, like, I don't want to do all, like, they don't.
So when you're looking at it, you think it's what we want, but we say we vigilant. Yes, we like to look at it, but we don't think our wife.
Okay. So
Every man that looked at Playboy.
But then I'm like, but okay, so
Every
then
man in
I'm
the world didn't look at Playboy.
So then I be wondering why I'm single, because it's like I have men.
You know why you're single? Because you just said you're guarded.
But look
Men
at
are not
I will
gonna break.
I will go to church events. I will go to events, and the dudes will all, hey Jen, all the dudes, and then I find out, like, just randomly in an after church conversation, or we out kicking, they be like, you know, a lot of the dudes like you, but they all feel like you got some man somewhere that you're already basically promised to. Like, you don't seem that you're available.
You're not ready. You're not ready because you've already said it. You said that you think you know what you want, and you're not 100% sure what a man wants. So how do you even present yourself? How do you even present the energy for these guys at church to say, oh, she's available? You know, it's going to be a certain energy that you project when you're ready. Everything else is going to be the energy that it is. It's going to be protection. You're guarded. They see what it is. You don't have to say it. They sense the energy.
You can take your guard down.
And I'm like, and I guess that's the part, because I'm like, what does that guard look like to them? Because whereas I feel like I'm not, especially to the ones I like. I don't.
How do you treat the ones you like?
Right. I'm nice to them, but I don't know. Like, I'm not mean.
I mean, but
I'm not mean.
This is
But
the other thing.
you definitely got work to do.
This is the other thing. Women don't know how to court and receive courtship.
I know I don't.
Like, that's a lost thing, and I don't know what the young guys is doing, and so I can't.
They're not doing
I
it.
can't speak
They're
to
not
it.
doing
I'll
it.
tell you
They
the
definitely
100%,
not
but
doing
then
it.
it's not the same like when we was younger either.
So we have
Everybody text and everything, no more
Well,
conversation.
so we have
Send me a pic.
we have
That's
some,
them.
we have some comments, guys. Y'all say hi to Auntie August, of course.
What's up,
Hey,
Auntie?
August, you know Auntie August, gotta say hi to her. Trina's chat says she's home on a Friday, so she gets to watch, finally. Mahogany said after being mishandled, a lot of times we end up being misunderstood. And she said because of that, it definitely changed who she was from being mishandled. And Tosh also said that it changed her. And I guess somebody said so do women, I guess, as far as the peace aspect. Tone works both ways. The reaction determined by the delivery, of course, and I think we spoke about that. Adapt to each other. And adapting to each other doesn't mean that it's gonna be like you said in a situation like you guys can be adapting to each other, but that doesn't mean that it's a happy place to be.
But see, this is where people go wrong. I want to do before you go down the list.
Okay.
You're like entrepreneur, right? In this being an entrepreneur, things go wrong. There's two types of people. You let that go wrong, stop you from, I don't want to do it no more, or you're going to learn from that and keep going. So if someone mishandles you, you learn from it and keep going. Don't let it make you a harder person. Let it make you a better person. Recognize certain things, certain qualities through conversation. Oh, no, this person ain't it. I can tell how they react to certain things. You know, I set this out just to see how they will handle their emotions. Are they emotional intelligent? Are they emotional experience? It's those type of things. So when you sit there and just say, it changed me, make me, most people when they say that, it makes them worse than better.
Mm-hmm. And that's just what she said too.
I have a question. Why?
So funny. Right. Come on, baby.
Why do women get to own hurt? Why do women get to own the pain? Like we don't experience pain. Like we ain't cried. Like we ain't.
Because y'all don't display.
Why y'all think we made a steal?
Y'all don't display.
I don't think
Because we weren't taught. If your mother's hard,
No, I'm saying after a bad relationship.
Yeah.
I've had bad relationships.
Me too.
I've hurt.
Yeah.
You know, so
Cried,
why do women
everything.
get to hold on the hurt from the past exes, but men
well,
don't?
because and most times it's you guys that are doing the hurting, and so that's why. Well, I'm just going by what I've heard.
what could be we hurt too from even doing the hurting, and then also going back. I'm going to go back to like he said, we come out in the streets and we stress from all just being a man out the street. Come home and you stress. Chemically inside our body, it's going to raise up more cortisol. This is the stress hormone, cortisol. So it's going to raise up more.
He educating us, y'all.
So-
Of course so.
So what's going to happen is your body's going to then release oxytocin to make you feel good. So you're going to gravitate to something to go make you feel good. If it's going out on the motorcycle set, if it's going out to go have some drink, if it's going out to go gamble, if it's going out to the strip club because she know how to make make you feel good.
Why
you
you
know,
like
you're throwing your
this?
money.
Why you do like this?
Or if it's going,
Was that her body? Wait. What, you didn't do this.
I'm
You did like
a
this.
visual.
Okay.
or if it's going to another woman. And sometimes men has been, I know for me, I'm speaking for myself. I have went to another woman, had sex, and as soon as I came, I was like, what the fuck?
Right.
But it was the oxytocin that was driving to make me. I was so stressed.
You can't go to court with that.
I know you can't go to court, but you can't go to court. But I'm just trying to tell you, you want to understand why you need to oxytocin. So why? But I'm telling you, why you need to understand the stress level and what you bring it to this man. Are you bringing more stress or comfort? Because you gotta release that somewhere. It's gonna be released by something that you don't want it to be released by.
Right. You right. I did
So what
that.
happens when a woman does the same thing you just said?
Same thing. But man, if he's stressing her, she go to work and she come home, he accuse her for cheating, she didn't answer her phone or didn't text back on time enough, she's gonna drive her the same way. The shopping, another man, out drinking, girl, I need a drink. He on one. She needs something to make her feel good. It's just human. It's nature.
A two-way street.
Yeah, it's a two-way
It's a
street.
two-way
It's nature,
We
yeah.
gotta work together as men and
Exactly.
women. And if you want that relationship, you're gonna do what it takes to keep that relationship going. You're gonna make the sacrifices, because no matter what you do in life, you're gonna make a sacrifice for your job, your kids, and everything. Why not make the sacrifice for the relationship?
Absolutely.
And for you, all you're gonna have to do is make up your mind.
Yeah.
That this is what you wanna do.
And write it
You
down.
wanna
Now.
Position yourself.
Every time I say that, I'll be asking.
You gotta position yourself. Every time a man walk up to you now, change your response. At least say hi and have a small conversation with them. Within the first 5 minutes, you're probably gonna know if you wanna deal with them or not. But if you get there like they are with you, because you automatically put the wall up to them.
And then, like he said, courting. They don't. And my grandma used to always be like, "Y'all, are you guys courting?" Because courting goes before I go with you.
Mm-hmm.
Because you courting because I wanna identify if we have things in common.
Mm-hmm.
And then I go with you. We would make the determination that, okay, you cool, I'm cool, this will work. So now we can go into the dating part. And then it goes further than that, but you have to court first. You can't just go straight into, I'll go with you. Because that's what,
no courting.
but that's what it gotta be. I think
Well, how
as
do
a
you
woman,
bring that back?
a woman
Courting
of
is the picture on
standard.
Facebook.
How do you bring that back?
This go get somebody into your DMs.
Yeah.
That's how
That's
people
court.
court now. That's,
I mean, they don't even talk on phones no more. Everything is, you tell your
I don't
kids,
like that.
call this person. I'm going to text them. Call them.
That's
Young
right.
people, they want to just text. They text
and
everything.
then, like he says, you have to be responsible for, you know, the energy that you bring to you. Anytime something bad happens to me now, or, you know, I get a wave of just like bad energy, or I can't figure out what's
Check
up,
yourself.
I look at my own energy. You know, I think internally, and you can tell when you're dealing with people who think internally or think externally. And a lot of people who lay the blame on somebody, those are external thinkers. So that's a lot what you see, you know, me responding to. And I've lost a lot of
Female friends.
Yeah. I lost a female friend one time because she said that she had a man, said she had a good dude. And then one time I seen her posting something negative about men. And I said, why would you post this? And you said you have a good man. Why would you post about having a good man? And that comment got deleted, and then they replied, and then I replied to that, and that got deleted. And
They
then
didn't
I
want
got
to hear what you're saying.
and I'm seeing on here is delivery.
Yeah.
And when we talk about delivery, sometimes the pastor's going to say something that you don't like and that you don't want to hear. But you can't say, I don't like the delivery, what the pastor's telling you.
Yeah, right.
Information is information. You have to process it. And once you process the information, actually digest it, then you can do something with it. But if you just cut off, I don't like his delivery, I don't like, you know, whatever, what have you. I think you have said something about Kevin Samuels. I'm not going to say that on this show.
Hey, I just gonna say that.
But
But the reason why,
yeah.
it's like Dave
It's
Chappelle
in the-
says, is you haven't watched 3 of my specials to know. Yeah, he's gonna come at you hard, but he's responding to the energy that he gets. If you ever notice, he starts out one way, and then the energy rises from the other individual, then he has to change his energy. And I'm not telling everybody to go out and watch Kevin Samuels. What I'm saying is he has a lot of good information. You just have to process the information and then weed out what you don't want, like anything else, like a math problem. You have to process it. So, but it's just like your response is your response because of the cancellation of, oh no, I don't like that delivery, so boom, you know. And you can't, if you want to get better, if you want to grow, you're going to have to get a whole lot of information. When I started growing is when I started reading all information. I'll read something from the KKK. Just so I know what that thought process is like. You have to take in all the information so that you know how to decipher, so that you know how to move. The more information you got, the more knowledge you got, the better you can move, you can adapt, you can do more things. So you have to take in the information, don't just disregard it. And if so many men are saying he has a point, at some point you have to stop and say, well, what is he saying? Because all these men are starting to be vocal about how they really feel. So let me listen. I ain't gonna like everything he's saying, but let me at least listen, you know, and that's just with everybody across the board. Like, you can't just cancel out something because you feel a certain way. You have to take in all the information.
Well, I like what you said when things start to go bad in your life, or when multiple things start to go bad in your life, you have to stop and do a self-examination. Like, how come me and Jerome just had a disagreement? Or why at work something didn't go right? Or why did I misunderstand somebody else? At some point, I gotta stop and say, Sam, let's find out what happened.
Yeah.
Am I not taking the time to communicate? Am I not taking the time to hear? Am I just in Sam's zone versus being in this neutral zone where I'm receiving and giving information? So I thought that was powerful. I just don't know. I want you to really sit down and write all the stuff you want, because I think you, like you said, you can't get something where you don't even know what it looks like. Because Mr. Prince Charming can walk up and he has all the qualities that you think you have, but then you're not really sure. Like, I don't know what it looks like. You should be able to, he talking my language. He got good teeth, he got a job, his tennis shoes clean, he respectable, he take, you know, it just, you should know what somebody else that love their mama, that treat their sister good, and those are, for me, those will be the qualities that I would look for. Let me have this conversation. Does he walk like halfway, like a pimp walk, or, does he have swag? I mean, is he nice to me? Does he want to date me continuously? It's just, you got to know what you, and like you said, you look at other people. Nope, I don't like that. Nope, I don't like that. Start making you a list.
You have to know how to serve that man. This is what I tell all my girlfriends. You have to know how to serve that
To all your girlfriends? You mean like female friends?
Yeah, like female friends.
Well, I just want to make sure I do what you're talking about.
You have to know how to serve that man. You have to know how to ask the right questions to get the information that you need because your time is valuable. Everybody's time should have a value in your time. And so when you, like she says, you have to know what you want. And once you know what you want, you know what to look for. So you know which questions to ask. Once you know which questions to ask, you're like, okay, this guy's want to waste my time, or I already know what he's after. I learned this in my early 30s one time. And, you know, in your early 30s, or at least me, I was in that process of kind of in that mode of, you know, like not really trying to be a player no more and stuff like that. But I was talking to this woman and she had kids and she really checked me. And I remember this. I'm 49 now. I still remember this. She said, she told me, she said, AJ, she said, what do you want? She says, because I have kids. She says, so I'm not all about, you know what I'm saying, dating just to be dating. You know, I'm not all about just, you know, having sex or whatever. I respect that so much. I knew not to waste her time.
Yes.
And I said, you know what, you want her, and we became friends. But you have to know how to survey men. You have to know how to value your time and ask the right questions. I think a lot of times people in general get caught up into the whole perception, the persona, things that this person can provide me, look good on Facebook or whatever. We're not surveying that individual. Because we're not surveying that individual, we get our time wasted, we get our feelings hurt. And I always say that when you're in a relationship, you're 50% of the problem. And you can't just lie the blame at somebody else's feet because you made a decision to be with that person. If you can survey that, it's like signing a contract and not reading it.
Yeah.
You know, you have to go through the process before you say, I'm going to let this person have my time, my energy, my love, all those different things. And if you don't do that, then you're at fault. You're part of that.
And what? Go ahead.
And I think that what you just said and how you were talking about like surveying and knowing, you know, what you want is important because I know like for me, I was raised in the church and people, they don't have that conversation with the women in the church. Like as far as I'm concerned, they don't have those conversations. They just go to one Bible story and talk about she was working, she was busy. You know, that's what they say, but they don't even say how a young woman should be like, okay, well, do exactly what you said. We're just told to be, he gonna find you working. When he finds you, he should find you working. Like, don't be over here stressing about a man, but be working so that he can find you working. But they don't prepare us on what to say when he comes. Right. We're just like, oh, is this you? Okay.
Right.
Now what? And so for me, that's probably why I don't know what I didn't have the right answers for any of your questions tonight because I've only been taught one way. And so now I'm like, okay, well, Jennifer, what do you want? Like you see it in other people, but when you're asked directly or when a man is in front of you, it's like, is that what I want? You see different qualities and characteristics that you like. But, you know, as far as the type of man that I could see myself married to, what does that look like? You know, and then if he approach me, would I know what to ask him? Like Chinese food, like that's basic. You know,
I think it would just be natural. You gotta come at it for me as a friend, and then it'll lead to something else because you just come at it as a friend and you guys have some things in common, or it just feels good, it feels natural, and they good, you good, and everybody is whole and being a whole person. So it'll come together. It will definitely come together. So to go and say, do you got this? Do you like? I mean, be friends.
Yeah.
Don't even go in it like, you know, with the expectation that's gonna be my man. Just be that can be my friend.
No, you're responsible for your happiness.
Yes.
You're responsible for everything about you. It's like he's responsible for everything about you.
Yeah, the oneness.
Yeah.
Being whole. You need to be a whole person before you bring another person into stuff that you got going on. Because if you're not whole, then it's all it's gonna do is mess it up down the line.
Right.
Because you were never at one with yourself. Then how you gonna be genuine to somebody else if you're never a whole person yourself? I hear you, boy.
I just wanted to share a quick testimony. When it came to me and my husband, I'm 7 years older than him first time. I owned a business. My husband walked into the business. Let me back up though. I had told the Lord 2010 October. I said, God, I'm tired of this lifestyle. I'm tired of being a single mom. I'm tired of this. I gave him a whole list of what I was tired of. And then in the midst of me making the decision to get my life lined up with God, he said, I need you to do this, that, and the other. And that meant letting go some of even the male friends I had in my life at the time. And I wasn't dating them, they was just cool friends, but I didn't realize how much they was causing me to feel and act a certain way toward what could have been the man that God might send to me. So when I decided to let some of them go, I said, okay, God, what you doing now? Here we go, the black book on, I'm single, solo, free, disengaged. My attitude came because I was in an abusive relationship. It costs to talk to me. I got 4 kids at home I can talk to for free. Which about to say me that I can get from me? My husband walked in the door. Now, mind you, I gave him God a list of everything I wanted in a man and everything I did not want in a man. And everything I wanted in my husband, I didn't see it when he walked through the door, but I saw everything I did not want in that man. And it was the main 3 things, and it was irrelevant. It was really not nothing major. It was just me because of some hurt things. I didn't want a dark complected man because I was molested by a dark complected man. I didn't want a man that had kids because I was a single mom and I don't raise my kids. I'm not trying to raise somebody else's kids. I don't want no younger man because of the simple fact that I didn't want him younger than me because I'm well over my rise of age. And I'm like, look, I ain't got time to raise somebody else's son. So God sent me my husband who was dark complected, my husband who had kids younger than mine, and who was younger than me. And I said, I will never forget it. My grandmother who was a pastor, she said, Pumpkin, that's your husband. I said, Jesus got jokes. We don't have to fix that. I took my husband to church to dump him. And my grandmother said, Pumpkin, you can't do that. And then I'm going to tell you, I was really bold because I thought these things was going to run him away because he had gold real dress. Mind I told you he walked into my business. So I'm a businesswoman. I'm working for Hayward Unified School District. And sometimes as women, we don't realize that because of our past, and some men don't realize that our past allowed us to have this attitude, and we need to rebuke, I'm going to use that word, who we are and the pain and the hurt of the other person. Because I told my husband, I'm not shacking. I don't have time to play. I have college age kids. I don't have time to be doing this little running around. I got goals. I got dreams. This is what I'm trying to do. Either you in or you out. If you want to kick it and hang out, we can do that. But I'm going to be doing this thing over here. My husband and I met in March. We was married in July of the same year. We just celebrated 10 years this year. Amen. So you have to make up your mind what you want, and you have to be willing to make some sacrifices. And not judge a book by its cover. Just because he got saggy pants or swag walk or all that, yes, you gotta know that. And if you see my husband now, he would see some of the comments.
You know, I know because you said it, and I know it's in here somewhere that women are going to be like, you know, they don't want to put that investment, or you know, that. Does he ever bring up the fact that you're going to take him to church and dump him?
Oh, he knows. I told him. I'm there. Oh, I'm there. He'll tell. He'll tell. He's a joke.
I'm scared to go to church.
Right. We get the next time. Right. Next time, I say, let's go to church. I'll be like, man, I ain't going.
I was one of them independent, single, free, and disengaged.
Well, I'll say this because men sometimes we require some time, and what I think a lot of, well, I'll say men and women don't know, because a lot of men, I did it. I felt like I worked better independently because I felt like I accomplished more independently. But I know that, you know, you get to a certain age and you don't, you know, sleeping alone ain't fly, like, you know. But I did what she did. Like, I had a lot of female friends that I know when I go out, they think that we're a couple. Yeah, like I've been single for like since 17 or something, 2017 or something. But everybody swear like
17?
Yeah, 2017. But everybody swear like I'm in a relationship just based upon I'm close with a lot. So I like address that. Like, what energy am I giving? I had that conversation. Like, what energy are we giving off? Like, and then I had to address it. You know, are we gonna do something? Because we ain't gonna do nothing with it. Then I can't be for you there like I was, because that energy is not allowing me to move forward with finding somebody.
So did you think he was going with them people too?
No.
So you knew.
I'm saying like one friend in particular, she knows who she is, but we hang out. We really hang out like best friends. And you just already, if you a man and woman, they automatically assume. But we would go places and they would just treat us like a couple. Like one time we was actually at this when I was working at Leeds. She was at the bar and it was on a Foodie Friday, and then I was in the back doing some stuff in the kitchen, and one of the waitresses was like, "Hey, Jay, I just put your girlfriend on your tab," and I'm thinking to myself like, I'm in here single. I've been single for like what girlfriend? Like who?
Right.
And I thought about it, and it didn't take long. It was like in that same few seconds, I was like, oh, shit. So I went and grabbed her, brought her back there, and I was like, just explain this whole little situation so that nobody just keep writing checks with my name on it.
Right.
And we laughed about it, but again, later on, I had to address that because that energy that you give off, and like I said, you have. I examined it. I was like, okay, I'm part of the problem.
So I got a question. Okay, so this same lady, did y'all ever kiss before? So y'all did. So and when you kiss a girl, we think we go with y'all.
But that's like a communication.
She didn't think we would. I'm saying everybody else around us.
But I asked you a question. Did y'all kiss?
She don't think we go together.
But the chemistry was there.
We just that's what we
But
think.
But communication. They all just assume.
Yeah,
No.
This person has been in several relationships.
I know he's telling 16 minutes and 29 seconds.
Even with kiss and chemistry and all that, they still got a conversation has to be had.
Y'all say that because
I've watched this person go through relationships.
Okay, but I'm just okay. So this is
I'm just saying that's
this
your
is for you guys
situation.
that's
I'm
most-
just saying period.
Okay, but I'm telling y'all. When a woman kiss, we think we go with y'all.
It's not third grade.
I'm telling you.
Do y'all think that?
No,
Do y'all think that?
I'm telling you, y'all put it in the thing. If we kiss and we go together, you think I kissed Ed and I didn't go with him? That's my man, and he gonna be my husband if I kissed him. That's
Well, see,
that's what we be thinking.
But look, okay,
Not
okay.
2021.
If that's what y'all thinking, if we think it's
Hey, they
different,
say that's your
it's a disconnect.
girlfriend.
That's a disconnect.
That's what they saying. That's what they saying on the internet. That's what the internet is saying. See, Tosh put it. Look at the screen. You scared to look at the screen.
I hear it all day long. I ain't got you.
Well, see, why are you hearing it all day long?
That's people's natural assumption.
Oh, they just assume.
People haven't even seen me in a photo with anybody in eons.
So could that be the reason you're still single? Because people think you're with these other women, so
Oh.
other women don't approach you?
That's exactly what I said. I said I had to address that energy. Me and that person had to have that discussion because I was saying this energy, what people are seeing, is preventing me. She was fine, she had several relationships, but it's preventing me from having a relationship because I'm invested. My energy is invested into this individual, a couple individuals actually, but this one in particular.
Not in, brother.
Right.
No. Let me say this. I have girlfriends that we really have real conversations. A man and a woman can be friends. When we have they'll come to me be like, "Hey Jay, am I tripping?" Blah blah blah. I'm like, "Yeah, you tripping."
So if you at the club, okay, I'm gonna give you an
I'm not
example.
gonna be at the club.
Okay,
This is my
But I'm just
party.
saying we could
That's
be at a restaurant and you like this, and we got the cocktail, you be like this, and then you got your hand on her chair like this. You don't think? I mean, even that could be your partner, right?
We don't be like that though.
Okay, how you be? I want to see.
Like regular folks.
Like we sitting right here, and then
You
how
think we be like that?
I'm just saying. This would get me confused. Like
Look at your face like you think we be like that.
That would confuse me.
You just upset him.
I don't know, but he.
I don't be like that. We're friends. Like my female friends were actually friends. They call me. They seek advice. All kinds of
But
stuff.
you kiss him too.
No, that was a long time ago. You asked me have I ever kissed this person. You didn't ask me how long I've known the person. How long ago was the kiss?
So,
Like
look,
none of that.
So y'all, I'm just saying the ladies they agree with me because there's mostly ladies on here saying that's your girlfriend. So when y'all kiss, that changed the friendship.
No, actually it didn't.
Okay, so
It didn't.
because he had those conversations beforehand or after people started to think y'all
First
was
of
together.
all, in this relationship, we're talking about 5-6 years. Okay.
A friendship.
A friendship.
Oh.
Okay. Then you have to equate the kiss was a long time ago, about 4 years ago. This person has been in relationships since then. There's no
So what that mean?
girlfriend type
Oh,
thing to it.
what does that mean that she's been in a relationship?
It means a lot to me.
So I have
because
a
I'm not
question.
sharing nobody.
Was she a lady? So going back to that lady, was she considered as being a lady? Because I mean, you said she had a lot of relationships.
Okay. Let me see, because I'm not saying like she was out like that.
Okay.
I'm saying she had relationship. When I met her, she was in a relationship. Then she got out of that relationship. It was some time passed.
Okay.
Why you wasn't in a relationship with her? What was wrong with
Because I had just got out of a relationship and I didn't want to be in a relationship.
her? So
I
you
was
hurt.
hurt. Yeah. most
You was
definitely.
hurt.
Oh, yeah,
And you
most
didn't.
definitely.
You respected her enough not to get into another
Almost
relationship.
definitely. There's a whole bunch of people that I haven't entertained a relationship. When I wasn't ready, like, nah.
But she
I
was
just
a
got ready.
She was.
So you ready
Tell
now?
her.
I'm ready for a relationship now. But I'm not advertising on that. But no, for a long time, I would tell them I'm not going to waste their time. Like I wouldn't. And if I felt like it was going to be something more than it was, then I would just back down. Like, I'm not going to do that.
I'm gonna ask you two a question. With you guys being right here, with you guys being in corporate America and you being a pastor, how do you deal with, because corporate America, a lot of white males running it, and they like to look down. How do you deal with that conflict? And you being in an industry that's very male dominant as well. How do you deal with other male pastors who feel like they're above you just because they're a man? How do you deal with that?
So you say look down. What does that mean?
Sometimes they just feel their ego. I think, like.
I think the way I carry myself in corporate America, you can't play with me like that.
Right.
I got my high heels on, my head is high. I am a self-assured person who's loved by her husband.
Mhm.
When I leave the building, he let me know he loved me, baby, go do your thing. So when I go into corporate America, they can't make me feel that. I have never, at my corporate, no man has ever made me feel less than. Never. I would say, and if they tried, I didn't pick up on it because I was too on my high horse. I know I'm smart. I know I'm intelligent. Just, the leadership, I think they respected that I was a strong Black woman. I was, I could hang with the best of them. I could sit in the room with all the senior vice presidents of the company and not be intimidated by them because I know who I am. You know what I'm saying? So I never felt away. I never felt intimidated. I never felt less than. I always felt empowered.
So you always carried your feminine energy. You never feel like you had to tap into your masculine energy?
Well, not with the men. No, not with the men. I never had to go there with the men. It was always the women that I had issues with at the company. And because they didn't think that I was worthy of being in the corporate world. And so when I brought it to my male supervisor's attention, he straight up told me, like, fight back, but fight back with grace.
Right.
He always told me to be gracious, to act and think like a lady.
Okay. That's why I want to ask you.
No. And the thing about it is, I come home and be like, I want to bust her face in.
Right.
But, just talking, he was a Korean guy at that. And we quoted to this day, like, they gonna understand who I am. They gonna understand Sam means business, but I can get you with a level of grace.
Mm-hmm.
Don't play with me.
For me, it's the same way pretty much. I get it all the time. Who called you to preach? Women ain't supposed to preach. I had my uncle call me, who's a pastor, and he's like, you're not even supposed to be ministering. How are you on the pulpit? How are you the head over your husband? And your husband's supposed to be the head. And I said to him, just as simple as this, God called me and my husband. But my husband and I had a conversation, and that's between me and my husband, how we move about. My husband understands he's the head of the house. I'm the head of the church. That don't put me over him. I'm at the end of the day, my husband is still the head no matter where we at and what we doing. I still check with my husband when I'm speaking. I still look at, we do our eye contact, our little communication.
That's
when
good.
it comes to other men, when it comes to other men and them being able to try to tell me something, my thing is, if you're a man of God, take that up with God. Don't take that up with me. That ain't a problem you have with me. That's a problem you have with a decision God made. And if you don't believe God made the decision to call me as a woman, then you don't have to minister with me. You don't have to do none of that. That's your choice. But I'm gonna do what thus said the Lord. Your decision is not gonna, or your opinion is not gonna stop me from being obedient to what God has called me to do. And my husband backs me, rides with me, right there in service with me, the whole night. He preaches when he feels like preaching. When God giving him a word, he preaches. We both are ordained pastors. So at the end of the day, I don't belittle him. He don't belittle me. He know his place. I know my place. Hey, I do tell you this though. I tell him all the time, I'll be so glad when you step up because I want my first lady first.
Now I want to know, Because is it because you guys older? 'Cause a lot of younger women, because black women are the fastest growing corporate years. So a lot of them had an attitude though. Then they come home with their man, like I'm making
Like
more
that,
than you, and
well,
I'm
yeah.
all
Well, the thing
that.
about it, even with that, you still have to have a level of respect
Right.
because your man need to be your king,
Mhm.
and your man is just like God. He deserves all the praise and the glory because he's made in the image of God, and so you have to still honor him,
Right.
regardless of who makes the most money or not. You can't come in here and think you running the household. I ain't taking on no garbage. I don't want to do none of that.
How you get that knowledge into
It's
the
growing.
younger?
Well, because you have to be an example of it.
Yeah.
Like my daughter is game tight. And she ain't got a man right now because her daddy set the standard so high.
Right.
You know, and she know
There you go, Ed.
when I don't want to do nothing, I ain't gonna tell Ed my secret, but I get on the floor and act like I'm sick. And then go lay down. You can go lay down. You don't gotta do nothing. But I'm just saying when I walk in my house, I'm spoiled, and I think when he walks in the house, he got his level of peace. I'm not going to say he's spoiled. I'm going to say he has his level of peace. And the kids know, like, he get home at 4:05 when I see the car coming. When he I go through the kitchen, I don't want the kitchen dirty when he walking through the kitchen. Because for me, that would do something to my energy. Why the house gotta be, and so whoever get home first, yeah, let's handle it.
And see, I didn't come up with a male in our house.
Okay.
So, but I know because remember when Uncle Bob used to come home, and Mr. D would be like, we be on the porch playing, 3 o'clock, we gone. Everybody off the porch, house clean.
The house is clean.
No car parked in front of his house, but before that, we over there chilling,
Eating food,
Kool-Aid house,
yeah.
everything.
No,
But soon, 3 o'clock, he
It's
got
a
it.
level of respect. You had something to say. And give us a couple extra minutes. Go ahead, Jay.
No, I was gonna say, like, what you're talking about, you don't see that.
No,
You don't like
saying.
what you're talking about,
Yeah.
and this is the things where you talk about.
But that's why we're having this dialogue right now, so that the young women or people, not even young women, because there's a lot of old people that didn't catch it, and that's why we needed to have this
They
conversation.
gotta want to catch it too, because
Because
like for me, I wanted to be around you because of the way I saw what you were doing on social media. When I was around you, I always felt like you carried yourself as a lady. So it was like, that's what I was attracted to, because that's what inspired me. I didn't just come because I wanted to work out, I wanted to lose weight, but there was more to it. Like the women that I like to have in my life are women who carry themselves like lady, has things that I aspire to be like. But you gotta want it, because if you don't want it, like it'll go over your head, or you would completely ignore it, because it could be given all day. Like there's a bunch of young ladies that could look at you and just be like, oh Sam, she'll get your waist right, and that's it.
But you have to still live the example. You know, you still have to show them what it looks like. And I think like a lot of people, they don't have it in their home. They don't have it in their surrounding. They got to come outside of the neighborhood or find somebody in the neighborhood. You know, the lady across the street can be the inspiration to you. But you got to see what it looked like. If you don't have it to see it, how you know what you want?
But you're fighting against social media. So
Yeah.
that's what everybody is
Well,
on.
I'm on
That's when
social
parents
media
take
now.
back control of their household. My grandkids come and they mama sitting the phone with them. I tell, look, you know the phone ain't coming. No, phone gonna be put in the drawer. You need to call my phone. They're not playing with the phones. They go outside and play like regular kids.
Yes.
Go do what kids do.
Right.
And that's up to the
That's that old
parents
school,
that
yeah.
make
Yeah.
it
Raising
to where you have to do that. My kids, no, don't send your kids to my house, because one or two things gonna happen. They're gonna be calling you to come pick them up,
I'm putting kids to
or they're
work.
going night night.
AJ, so
I think across social media, I think a lot of, or what I see is women think that's being weak. They think, any form of submission is weak. They think letting your man be the leader of the household is a weak thing, because there's a chant, for women to be strong, black, and independent. But there's repercussions to that. And I think that's what we're seeing. And I think that's where the disconnect is. And the longer we keep saying, I don't want to hear this and I don't want to hear that, and we turn off the channel, we're not going to get anywhere.
Nope.
being strong, black, and independent is okay. There's nothing wrong with it. That's if you want to be by yourself. Or strong, black, and independent before you attach yourself to somebody. It's fine. I am an individual person first, and then I'm a married woman. But I have to be independent and whole within myself first. So there's nothing wrong with being strong, black, and
There's a
independent.
leader in every relationship.
Well, yeah.
There's a leader in every
I believe
relationship. If me and you are brothers, we be the same age, we be twins. One of us is going to follow the lead of the other person. If you're married or in any type of, somebody's going to naturally take a lead in a relationship. And we can't protect you if we're not leading. We don't go first,
Right.
see what things about.
Right.
How can we
But
protect
most
you?
men are not taking the authority. They're allowing the woman.
That's the other thing.
to-
Women
to-
say
they got the woman opening the door, walking through first. She opening up the door and she
Pumping her own
walking through.
gas,
that's
and
something.
Right, sit in the car,
That's a
right.
choice she made. As soon as somebody does not open the door for you, and that's part of a survey.
Yeah.
As soon as somebody does not open the door for you, and you don't let that be known, hey, Jay, I'm a woman. I was taught that a man is supposed to open the doors. I was taught that a man's supposed to pump the gas.
Mhm.
If you still with him, y'all got your relationship point, and you walking through the doors and stuff like that, then yeah, you're part of that decision making process.
Right.
You part
And
of
you'll
that
cry
problem.
about it later.
But what I don't like is women say, well, he has to be the example, or he has to start doing this before I do that.
No.
You're naturally built that way. If you're gonna let a man lead, you're naturally built, or you've gotten yourself ready to let a man lead. You don't get into a relationship and say, okay, now I'm ready. It doesn't happen like that. So women have to stop saying, oh, well, if he can lead, then I can follow. Choose your leader. Choose the person
But
that you want
he
to get
has
behind.
to show examples of leadership
Yeah,
prior
that's part
to.
of the survey.
You know,
That is
he
part
needs
of
to
the
go and
survey.
check the environment before he brings me into it. That's what I trust a man to do first. Before you lead your family down this road, before you lead me down this road, I need to know that you've been down that road in order for me to totally trust you. You have to have a record, a track record, in order for me to be able to follow you down this road. And so I've been following for so long, and I haven't been misled. We ain't hit a wall yet. And so continue on. I'm in the back seat. I'm not. I might be in the back seat because I'm trying to go to sleep. But I'm just saying, it's great, but you got to be an example of it. And it's not like women want that. A lot of women do it, or they don't trust it, or because nobody haven't presented themselves accordingly.
And I almost missed my calling and did not become a pastor because I was called before my husband, and I had to make a decision if I was going to take the call before he did. And I had to go through take the opportunity to get counseling, him and I, as to what that would look like. And we as Black people have deemed counseling as a bad thing, and it's really not. It's actually an opportunity for us to learn things that we do not know and to help us to grow in that relationship, because the Bible do tell us that you become one with that person. And when you become one with somebody, you're taking two different worlds and they're going to collide into one world. And that is like that's a lot of sacrifice, let me tell you. And I had to, not just me, let me just not say me, but my husband had to mentally prepare himself to understand that my wife is the pastor, but that don't make her over me. She's not the head. We had to be clear with one another. So in certain relationships and in certain circumstances and situations in the relationship, we have to understand too that, and men have to be willing to say, you know what, that's where I'm weak at, because your mate is the person that makes you strong where you're weak. So if the men are weak there, they have to be able to allow the women to lead in that area. That doesn't mean she needs to be disrespectful, loud, ghetto, or whatever the case may be. That just means that he needs to comfort her and support her and help her to understand that he understands that it's okay to lead in this situation, so that because it's about growing together.
Hey, can you get some of those comments pretty please so we can wrap it up? Go ahead, Jerome.
No, I agree with that part of just knowing your strength and your weakness. She might be better at finance, and you control the finance. I'm better in this area, taking care of this. Okay, you take care of that. And that's how y'all make a good team. But you got to get rid of that old. It's a couple of things. You got the old mindset, and then you have the young without no mindset. So it's like we have the young men who need to be taught how to be men, and then we got the young ladies who need to be taught how to be women.
We need to get back to that.
We need that patience too, isn't it? Because we and I was gonna say that at least for me, when I was in my 30s, I had what we call wifeys. You had these long relationships, and you basically pretty much wasted somebody's time. Y'all be shacking up, doing the whole thing. And I knew, like it would get to the point where, I was in love and stuff like that. But 3 to 5 years, whether you're gonna marry this person or not. And I've had relationships where there was 5 years, 7 years, you know,
And
so.
you knew that you wasn't going to marry this person.
I knew I wasn't gonna marry that person. I knew I had gotten to the point where I wasn't ready to be married. Most definitely.
So was that? I mean, how did you? I mean, that's like a waste of time.
So when I
So
was
was
hurt,
it a relationship of convenience?
it didn't start that way. It became that way.
And so after so long, you just living that life, just going on. Here she, I'm back home. Here she go.
Yeah.
So you can. Oh, okay. So okay. So you know what I'm
You
saying?
can adapt and get
walk in,
comfortable. Like
you
you
be
can adapt and you can
you
get
be
comfortable.
like, damn,
But see,
here she come.
I hurt when I was in my 30s and stuff like that. I hurt a lot of them. So when I got hurt, I just felt like I took it as karma. That's exactly how I took it. I didn't go into like I'm not taking that pain with me. I knew it was karma at some level, and I knew I had to heal before I went to a next relationship. Usually men don't go into the next relationship with a lot of baggage. Usually they kind of settle all of that right then and there, at least the pain part of it, and settle all that and then move forward. I think a lot of times the women that I've known, it's almost like, okay, I'm hurting and I don't want to hurt no more. So let me, you got a thing full of DMs, people want to take you out to dinner and all this type of different places. And you don't want to think about your pain anymore. So it's easy to get caught up into the next relationship or the next thing.
Okay, so let's hit some of these comments real quick. I saw Amir said, he said, I don't want my woman to have male friends. Okay. Why? Is it because you don't trust the dude or you don't trust the girl? So he don't trust his woman? Not the dude.
No, you don't trust the woman.
And women
A man-
get like
a
that's
man will
why
be a
social
man.
media is
But
important.
I'm
though.
saying, so okay, so like just say for instance, I go somewhere and I'll end up I would think because I have male cousins, a lot of y'all, just say for instance, y'all, we can talk about football or whatever. And we can have like a 40-minute because I used to be into football. And we can have those conversations and is there an ulterior motive by having those long conversations? And so I'm just asking.
You ask it.
But see, it don't matter if what kind of motive the man had, if she's
Allowing it.
yeah,
Okay.
because no matter what she want to do, she has to allow it.
So it's on the woman.
It's on the
It
woman.
depends on what the relationship is too. I mean, like you have jealous men, but you also have men that are very receptive. Like we know what other men want. Like okay, what does he want? Like who is this new dude? What's it about? We know that energy.
Right.
We know what the
Because y'all
motive
the
is.
men.
So
Y'all
yeah.
know.
So I wouldn't say no, I don't want my woman to have no friends, but at the same time, you have to realize, what you bringing on,
So Anita says, if there are no ladies, I can't read that, honey. I can't read. Can y'all read that?
If there are no young ladies in the young woman's
Life.
young woman's
Life.
wife, she can learn from how does she go about learning these things.
So in my opinion, like I call myself Auntie Sam, and I'm auntie to a lot of young ladies up to 40. And if you over 40, I ain't your auntie. I'm your sister or somebody, your cousin or somebody. But yeah, you I try my best to be an example of what good looks like, and I try to carry myself accordingly because I don't want to mislead the people that could be basically following me or that God has attached to me.
Mhm.
So I would say find someone in the community, find someone that you look up to, go to the church. We have a lot of older, wise women in church, and ask them if you could. Like when my mom died, I ended up adopting a couple of people as my godmother because I wanted to still have that wisdom. And there's a couple of older people that I look to as grandparents because I still want to be able to attach to the wisdom that they offer because older people got a lot. I'm considered like an older person now. So I would say to the young ladies that don't have anybody, find you an auntie, find you an older cousin, find you somebody, that's playing the part that you want to look. And whether it may not even be age-wise, because I could be 52, you could be 50, and you still need to get some game. You still need some wisdom around. That's just my opinion. Okay, let's see what else we got next. Hopefully y'all can see. When you get old, that's what happens to your eyes. You can't see the screen no more. Let me see.
I don't know how y'all see that.
I can see.
So when y'all kiss, that changed the friendship.
He ain't answering that one. We talked about that already. Okay, so that's my daughter. That's Greta talking about Lanisha. Lanisha, we don't have to fix you too, Lanisha. We don't fix Lanisha too. Let me see. Heck yes. Let me see. Look at my phone. But this is a great conversation. We didn't get to really talk about, because Steve Harvey said, act like a lady, but think like a man.
That's wrong.
Yeah. So
That's some bad
I
advice.
agree with you.
Yeah, that's some bad.
okay, but I'm just saying, I just think act like a lady and think like, act like a lady and think like a lady.
I say act like a lady and be a lady.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, yeah, sure. Right. Being a lady is a matter of choice. And you have to make it up in your mind what you want your lady to look like.
Women
Don't-
just,
Go ahead.
I'm sorry.
No, that's okay.
Women just need to know their feminine energy is the strongest energy.
Yeah.
Moving. You get whatever you want.
Man,
Just
I'm telling
moving.
you, we don't.
Yep.
Did y'all hear what he just said? We can get whatever we want. So
Absolutely.
stop selling yourself short.
Absolutely.
Baby, listen, you are in control, but you need to be in control. You need to carry yourself with that. And when you walk into the room, you own it. Keep your head up high. Stay encouraged. All things take time, including finding yourself. Be very clear and intentional on what you want in a relationship. Everyone's journey is different. Absolutely.
Mhm.
Absolutely.
I tell people, know what you want, because then you know what you. Because you don't know what you want for yourself.
There you go.
How you get somebody that's going to support with you? And you know what I'm saying? Then that make it easy for you to support them.
You're gonna just be standing there. You go to a Safeway deli up here on Roderick, and you just be standing. Lady say, "What you want?" You like,
A husband,
I
a
don't
wife.
know. Or I don't know. You just sit
Yeah.
there like I don't know. She can't make my sandwich because I ain't
Right.
telling her what I want. I don't even know what.
I think everybody goes through a process before they get married. Later on in life, I think you have to deal with yourself. You have to spend a lot of time with yourself, getting to know yourself, know what you're gonna deal with, know what you're not gonna deal with certain depressions, pains, all those different things in order to receive love. I don't think you can be hurt and receive love the way you're supposed to.
You gotta
So I
heal.
think a lot of different things you have to. That's part of the process of being ready. You gotta heal. So you can't just be repeating the cycle, be in pain, but then be like, I want a husband or I want to be in a relationship. That's not gonna work.
What I tell couples when they come to me and my husband is we always let them know that every day when you wake up, you're waking up to someone new. Because we're constantly growing, we're constantly changing, we're constantly being developed into the men and women God has created us to be, and we're constantly growing together, which means some of our old ways will not happen anymore. And people always say, well, why he ain't like he was when I first met? Do you really want him to be like that?
Right.
Do you
They were
really want him to
saying
be that
30 years
immature?
ago.
Like,
Right.
you should
Right.
be
That
support
we ain't
the
through.
change and go with the change of a person and grow with the person and change with the person.
Mhm.
And that's the best way for relationships to work. That's one way also to tell that relationship is not going to work. Because if you guys can't respect each other while you're changing and continue to love the person that's changing, then it's just not going to work. Because it's going to be the problem.
So, guys, we're gonna wrap this up, but I do want to talk about our sponsor. Our sponsor today is AASEG Oakland, and AASEG is the African American Sports Entertainment Group. They're in the process of trying to purchase the Oakland Coliseum site. We did solidify. We're trying to get the WNBA here in Oakland. I think we had a wonderful press conference yesterday. Next week, I will be calling on you guys to solicit our city council people because they don't seem to think that a Black-owned group can take over the Coliseum and do what they said they're going to do. They're questioning the money process. So I'm going to be putting things on my page. But again, if you guys are on social media right now, follow AASEG Oakland, and you can get all the information you need. This is a wonderful group that I'm a part of, and I truly believe in. And I know that with you, with them, with us, we can definitely make that Coliseum happen. And we also have another sponsor here. Go ahead and bring that bottle back up to the table, and he's gonna tell you a little bit about his product.
Zenith Magnesium Water. Now, one thing is has a lot of magnesium. Magnesium is very important for the body. But what else is important? This right here is coming in glass bottles. One thing that women are dealing with, especially Black women, is fibroids. And understanding that fibroids is basically the shell of the egg, which it goes through a cycle and release. There's no consumption is happening, nothing. Then it has a lot of estrogen. But because they drink your water in plastic bottles, the chemicals in it mimic estrogen. You get too much estrogen, not enough progesterone. It feeds that fiber. It gets bigger and bigger.
Wow.
This is why when women have like breast cancer, they tell them to watch their estrogen because it makes the tumor grow. Same thing. So you want water in glass bottles, and magnesium helps break down estrogen.
So I'm not sure if they can see that. You want to pull it up a little bit to the. And then where can they find this product?
Well, right now we relaunching, so we back out in March. It'll be back in mostly all the different stores.
Okay.
So in March.
So you guys stay tuned. You can follow Jerome. What is your handle?
Follow me on Instagram at Rome Like Earth, ROMELITEHERBS.
And so, Miss Dancer Girl, you do private lessons as well.
I do private dance lessons, movement coaching for artists. So you can follow me at _JJ12, spell out 12. And I also teach here at Tip Top Shape on Tuesday nights at 7 o'clock.
And then I'm Samantha Wise, and I am the owner of Tip Top Shape, and we do boot camp fitness for every fitness level. You can find me on Instagram at Tip Top Shape with the _ or on Facebook at just simply Tip Top Shape. Tip Top Shape. Y'all come on and work out with us. It's never too late to get in Tip Top Shape. That's my commercial. Period.
You can find me at KLH Enterprise on Instagram and on Facebook. And if you're interested in getting a business started, your business developed, managed, or anything with business, just reach out to me.
You can find me at AJ the Architect. Won't have any theme parties until next year. But if you want to bike, you can find me at BMX by AJ. BMX _by _AJ.
Also, you do bikes.
Bikes, like the
One
bikes
of
that
these
we used
kind
to
of
ride,
bikes.
like Mongoose, like Diamondback, like Redline. Like,
So will you customize it? Oh, okay. Well, I when you said bikes, I was thinking of them bikes. Okay.
bicycle.
So Amir said, I love this. Keep it up. Thank you. We appreciate you for tuning in. And so we're not going to hold you any longer. It's Friday, and we appreciate you guys tuning in for our 21st episode of Act and Think Like a Lady. And ladies, keep your lady at all times. When I say keep your lady, keep your lady. Don't let anybody take you out of the demeanor. You ain't got to be in nobody's face, rough and tough with your Afro puff. Stay calm, stay collected, stay loving. Use this happy tone, especially when you're talking to your kids, because whatever tone that you put out to your kids or you put out in your environment, in your home, that's the tone they're going to take out in the street. So let's create these loving environments. Let's I'm asking you guys to step out and be more leaders in our community. Even if your kids are grown, there are young men that are looking for men to help mentor them. The same thing as you can see, the young lady was asking about if there's nobody for her to look out to. You got your Auntie Sam. You got my Auntie August. You can use her too. I'm gonna go ahead and throw my people out there. You got Minister here. We gonna give my baby. She gonna get her little life together because we finna write a book. But we appreciate y'all for tuning in. Thank you for joining Samantha Wise Words. You guys have a wonderful Friday. Thank you guys. Y'all say bye to the people.
Thank you.
Bye.